All right, cats. You know, it's very strange how the media report things, how the media these days works. And it's unfortunate there's a lot of people out there, maybe of my generation, I would imagine a bit older, some of them are younger, that don't have access or don't want to have access to computers or phones in order to see what's going on online, to see what's going on the net, to see what's going on YouTube. So these don't stay in touch with, what do they call it now, citizen journalism, which, by the way, I'm not overly convinced by at all, but that's another thing. But journalism on ITV, BBC, Channel 4, Sky, I don't understand how it's so biased and how it's still there, how it still operates. Who watches this stuff? Who pays attention to it? It's like, I don't understand how they even call themselves journalists anymore. A journalist, when I was a lad, they were independent thinkers. They had a set of morals, they had a code. You know, obviously everyone's influenced by whoever runs the newspaper and what they want you to report on, you know. But it's just so blatant now. Just no one fucking cares. It's just all lies. All the time. It's a one-sided story all the time. And if you argue with them, or let's say not argue, if you present another side in order to have a discussion, they throw all sorts of labels at you. Racist, fascist, Nazi. How about fuck off? How about just stop, will you? No one's falling for it. No one's going with the plan. No one. Well, say no one. There's a few fat, blue-haired weird fuckers running around who seem to go with the plan. But if they're not shouting about climate change, don't get me started on that. They're shouting about fucking a non-existent place called fucking Palestine. You know what I mean? You've got all these queer buggers jumping up and down, going, shouting for the rights of Palestine. If you're queer, of which, by the way, I couldn't give a shit whether you're queer or you're not, I don't care what you are. But if you're queer and you went to Palestine, you'd either have no head within the first 10 minutes that you were there, or you'd be pushed off a building, or you'd be burning in the street with a tie around your neck. What fucking planet are these people on? And you're shouting for these. You're shouting for this. No understanding of anything that goes on in the world. Nothing. Fucking nothing. And then, obviously, you're back to how it gets reported, aren't you? Not by the citizen journalists. Like I said, I'm not too sure about half of them. But by what we used to call mainstream journalism. Mainstream journalism. That used to mean something. It doesn't now. It's not even journalism. It's mainstream propaganda for one side. It's always for one side, isn't it? The one side with the skewed view, the one side that doesn't ever have an argument, the one side that won't sit down to a discussion, the one side that resorts to jumping up and down, telling you to fuck off and screaming in your face and accosting you and no conversation. It's like people don't want conversation. I, for one, don't like the way it goes. I don't like the way it works. I don't like the way journalism works. I certainly don't like Sky News. Let's take Sky News today. Little example today. There's a regional vote for an MP in a place called Caerphilly in Wales. Caerphilly, for 100 years, has always had a Labour MP. Right? We have a new party rising through the ranks here called Reform. Everybody, obviously everybody's not dead set against it, but the people with the voice, the people with the, let's say, influence, let's say journalists, and the people with the money seem to dislike Reform and Nigel Farage, the man at the top. And there was a result. in this by-election in Caerphilly. And Labour, who have always, I mean always, won the seat, came third with 11% of the vote. So 1 out of 10 people. Now, there was one of the biggest turnouts that there's ever been for this local election. Over 50% of the people that could vote did vote, and only just over 1 in 10 of those voted for Labour. 11% of the vote. Conservatives, 2% of the vote. So numbers-wise, Conservatives, basically about 37 people voted for them, and I exaggerate. Labour was about 4,000 people. Reform got over 12,000 people, and Plaid Cymru, which is the Welsh party, so only in Wales, not in the rest of the UK, just in Wales, Plaid Cymru, they got 16,000 votes. So well done, Plaid. But Reform got 12,000 votes. Pretty impressive for a party that wasn't there 12 months ago. And Labour, after their 100%, 100 years, always voted in as this local MP, got 4,000 votes in third place. And do you know how Sky reported that? They never mentioned Labour. They trounced on and on and on and on about how Reform only got second place and Plaid got first. So what would you think the biggest news was there? Remember, Labour, every single time there's been an MP required for that area, it's always been a Labour MP for over 100 years. Not this time. First time, 100 years, no Labour MP. And they fell into third position, with only a quarter of the votes of the party that won. So Plaid gets 16,000, Labour gets 4,000. And what does Sky focus on? Reform. Why? It's not lies. They don't lie. They're not thick enough to lie. They're very intelligent people, and they manipulate the news. They manipulate the news. So the big news is Reform never won. The party's been there for a year. Reform never won. No, they didn't. But they got 3 times the amount of votes that Labour got. And Christ knows how many times the amount of votes the Conservative got. And I would just like to say that it would be nice, for once, just to see something reported in an unbiased, journalistic, professional fashion, rather than forcing me to shout at the TV, followed by me turning it off thinking, fuck you, Sky, because I'll never watch it again. Because if that's how you're going to report stuff, there's no point in watching it. Total drivel. And all they've succeeded in doing is turning me a little closer towards Reform. They don't want Reform because they can't see how they're going to maintain their position, their contracts, their money. That's all it all comes down to. It's all it ever comes down to. For everybody, for everything you see, for everything you do, for everything that's foisted upon you, it's all about them taking control, or money, or both. And all I can say is, very well done, Reform. Very well done, Plaid Cymru. And thank fuck, Labour took a big hit. And Conservatives don't really care. But then, judging by the amount of people that voted for them, no one really cares. So on that note, create, stay sane, baby.